channels like the news, and I think even the very Discord, the main server itself, wasn't established or something like that, or at least it was established
No, it
like
was. It
it
was.
was. Yeah. Well, anyways, there was less paperwork back then, so it was harder to get facts. But this is what I could find. Firstly, did you know that President Director Spector was the only president in OSF history not to be elected? He was actually appointed by, I presume, AB and VB.
False.
Oh, false.
I assumed the presidency from Haste Anarchy through the line of succession.
Yep.
But
There's
what?
two technically. Yeah. Well, then it's actually Icy
Okay,
too.
all
Actually, if
right.
you think about it,
Okay,
because I
thank you.
also once Fallen Havoc did the same thing that Haste did during his first term. Icy also became president through that, so he also wasn't elected, nor was he reelected because he never ran again.
That's right. I apologize. you guys are correct. He was the only
That's why you
president.
guys invited us, right? To fact
Yeah,
check
no,
this
you're right.
shit out.
He's the only president in OSF history to be appointed by the founders.
There you go.
He was a former founder of the group and president of OSF before it belonged to just AB and VB. He was appointed before the DC map was even published, so I thought that was funny. President?
Yeah, when the group first started to come back to life, yeah, he got founders appointed him just to kind of get the ball rolling, essentially.
His vice president was Matthew L. Sawyer. And then, so I wrote here, after completing some notable tasks, both resigned on the same day, a couple weeks before the end of their tenure. The president saying, and I quote, "I hereby resign as President of the United States. I'm not going to lie. Viking Boy is a great person, demanding great respect, and he deserves all the success he can get, but I don't see it happening with the people around him. I've also lost interest in the USA for these exact reasons, as it is toxic, and the people we've chosen to bring back are just as. They're great builders, but not great people." So obviously, he had problems with, I guess, some people in the group in the before times. I don't know if either of you guys know anything more. So I actually reached back to Director Spector in February 2024, and he told me this. Looking back, I was in the wrong on a lot of things. I said shit to people I considered family and close friends and ruined those relationships I had made. It's my one regret of Roblox was telling some people the things I did. I own that now and wear it because it'll never be like it used to be with those guys, and I respect that. So I just thought it was fascinating because, I mean, he obviously like changed his point of view on that, which is very interesting. Vice President Sawyer seemed to indicate that the reason he left was due to the president. In his resignation address, he said, and I quote, "I can't even have a talk with the president in a mature and factual way." So there was obviously some problems with president-vice president's relationship. So, I mean, think about that. The president and the VP resigning. If that happened today, that would be crazy. So, of course, what happens is the speaker became the president, and that was President Deep Red Skies, or Antonio MP Gorelli.
That actually did happen with Hayes administration, actually, and that's why Nick became president.
Oh, dang.
Three terms.
Yup. He was only, I think you're the only three. Are you the only three-term president? I feel like...
I'm the only consecutively serving three-term president.
Yeah, because technically Hayes by default has three, but... Oh, and Vass does too, I believe, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so basically, what was his name? Bandit? I forget what his full username was, but...
2000, I think.
Yeah, he was Hayes' vice president, and some shit happened, and he was... I don't know if he was tactically told to resign or if he just said, fuck it, I'm out of here. but he resigned as vice president. Hayes didn't have another vice president. Then the State of the Union rolled around. Hayes resigns, and then Nick as Speaker of the House.
Hayes tried to appoint the Attorney General at the time.
Oh, right. Yeah, he did.
But then it came to light that the Attorney General was actively helping and funding Hamas, which was like the big terrorist group at the time.
Yeah.
So that kind of fucking put a dampener on that.
Yeah.
I'll have to include that in my Hayes section.
It was funny because I think I may or may not have had a slight hand in that, at least in terms of Bandit resigning, because I did rip him a new one like a day before his resignation. He ordered I was chairwoman of the Joint Chiefs at the time, and he ordered a couple of my guys to execute civilians. So I went into his DMs and I fucking tore him a new one. And then he just tactically went away after that because I was like, "You touch my guys again, and you're not working anywhere here." But you know, anyway.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We still got to get to Kyle.
Oh yeah, Kyle.
So
Kyle,
the speaker. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
God,
yeah, so
Kyle sucks.
Deep Red Skies became president, and his vice president was Kyle S. Ford. So I wrote here that President Antonio and Vice President Ford played a crucial role in creating strong foundations for each of the branches of government, while a multitude of persons is responsible for all this, of course. The amount of work the president and vice president did, considering the position they found themselves in, and in just 2 weeks, I thought was pretty commendable. The appointments of many department leaders to keep the executive branch running smoothly, 2 justices, a federal court judge, and the signing of the important Judiciary Act of 2019 were just a few of their achievements in the 2 weeks that they had. And then in his farewell address, President Deep Red Skies said, "This nation's story is not yet written, but I assure it will be great with continued dedicated leadership." And yeah, so moving on to our second president, who I like to call the rejected president. So the executive duo of Antonio and Kyle S. Ford decided to flip roles in the first official OSF USA presidential election. President Kyle S. Ford was elected along with his former POTUS, Deep Red Skies, on September 1st, 2019. The race was contested by Mr. Louis Grosvenor and his VP, Devin Beauclerk. I don't know if those names mean anything to you guys.
No, they never showed their faces again in the group after that.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well, so in his inaugural speech, the President Kyle, promised to prioritize communication, commitment, and cooperation. So from what I found, he certainly tried his best to maintain the momentum given to him by Deep Red Skies. However, on September 11th, the former president announced his resignation, citing personal matters. This event during President Ford's term. So, to be clear, that was the VP resigning, Deep Red Skies. I found that this marked a downhill trajectory. However, there were still impressive feats to be held, such as there was a large summit hosted at DC with around 20 diplomats attending, which was pretty cool. At the end of the day, it couldn't really save, I think, how his presidency was viewed. The new VP was to be the former Attorney General, Edward L. Spencer, who we all know and love, inaugurated a week after Antonio's resignation. I'm just going to call him Antonio. Antonio and Deep Red Skies are the same person. I'm going to call him Antonio. The Senate during this time continued to run strong with the Hatch Act and the Open Carry Act and many other important bills being passed quickly. But on the 22nd of September, President Ford declared martial law. So that's really cool. I mean, think of that happening now. declared martial law, and half an hour later it was suspended. I think this was like actually really fascinating, but I didn't write it down, so take this with a grain of salt. I think he declared martial law, and then it was federal court judge at the time, FDSA, who declared it like unconstitutional. And so I think it was a bit of you know, a moment where the judicial branch sort of stepped in and really, that was the first time maybe that they asserted their authority. So a week later, on the 28th, the White House Chief of Staff, Nick the Hobo, when speaking to... Oh yes, I spoke to former President Nick, and he indicated that the president had forced him to resign, and there was a large public reaction against his decision and the declaration of martial law. So Nick, if you want to expound on that, feel free to.
Yeah. So essentially what happened is at the time, the parties were still struggling. I served as White House Chief of Staff, but I told him I could not formally endorse him for re-election because I had to remain impartial, just in case anyone challenged him for the primary or anything like that. Given the Hatch Act and White House Chief of Staff, I wasn't in a position to endorse him, is how I felt. But in that time, he hired some new guy, relatively new to the group. No one ever heard of him. Turned out to be a NUSA spy, and he is the guy who replaced me as White House Chief of Staff after I was essentially forced out. But without this event, this is the event that sparked the creation of the protest signs.
Ah, wow.
Was because of my forced departure, VB was very fucking fast with it. He quickly made the protest signs and added it to the game.
Yeah.
And also, fun fact, that is the second time I have been the reason Kyle has resigned from the presidency in this group.
You just have a habit of that.
Listen, if I had a nickel, I'd have 2 nickels, and it would be great.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
I'm saying. But yeah, so he hired my replacement almost immediately, and I want to say this took place at like 2 in the afternoon, and probably by 6 or 7 o'clock of the same day, Kyle resigned and took his White House Chief of Staff with him. To which effect, Edward was then sworn in, and Edward promptly asked me to return as White House Chief of Staff.
Yeah, so President Ford resigned. In his farewell address. He said, and I quote,
"Have your attention, please.
Oh
This
my
is not
gosh.
a drill.
Okay.
I repeat.
He said, and
this
I
is not a
quote, I'm
drill.
not strong
A
enough
fire
to
has
take
been
all the
detected in
verbal
building.
abuse and
All
make it
personnel
through.
should proceed to the nearest available exit.
So Nick, it was
Do not
interesting.
use
In a
the
public
elevators. After you
letter
leave the building,
I read,
please move away
you
from the
sort of
entrance.
like
You will be notified
chastised the
when it is safe to
public
re-enter
and
the
being like,
building
you
once
guys
it
should be
is
nice to
concluded
him,
by our
or something like
standard
that.
fire
But
personnel.
then when I asked you about it in 2024, you said, bitch couldn't handle the pressure.
Yeah, probably the statement I made back then was probably, just the politician side of things. He felt he made the right decision, yada yada yada. That kind of shit. But no, he couldn't handle the pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that was President Kyle Ford.
That's why you toss people off of bridges when you're president. That's literally the reason.
We didn't have the bridge back then, all right?
Look, the execution bridge has taken many victims, but it was such an amazing thing, and it contributed so much to my presidency.
And now moving on to our last president, who I like to call the Hollywood president.
Accurate. Very fucking
Woodrow
accurate.
Spencer. Now, I
He says
think...
hi, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
He texted me
I
to say
think
hi.
Edward's presidency was really important to the group because it showed like how good a president can be, and like he just did so much that I'll get into soon, and it would have been really cool to like be there at the time. So, Vice President. Sorry, what?
Real quick before you continue, for people who weren't there, I say this with no reservations. Edward L. Spencer is hands down the most important president this group has ever had. No matter like which tenure it was, without Edward, this group would not be what it is today.
Yeah, he did a lot.
Yes. So when you play DC, when you go to when you go to like Capitol Hill and everything, we're here today in this manner because of Edward. So just remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he was sworn in on the 29th of September, and a couple days later he announced his pick for VP, who would be Vice President Dowve, a former President pro tempore. So, quickly after being thrust into power, President Spencer rapidly appointed individuals to key government positions. The problem of having continuous resignation everywhere in the government, especially in the cabinet, would plague Edward throughout his month-long term. The president appointed a person by the name of Disturbed Apex to be Secretary of Defense, only for it to be later revealed in the news that he had belonged to a Japanese crime organization and that had conducted large attacks in the capital. I don't know if you guys can...
Apex. Yeah, and then I think what Dave took over after Apex, or did I take over after? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I don't know. Either way, I remember Apex, and he did jack shit for the military. I had to basically tell him to fuck off from touching things. I think I want to say he's also the reason that. Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. Was he the one that fucking created DFPA, or was that Zorg?
DFPA. Fresh my memory what that is.
It was that illegal protection agency that DOD created.
Oh yeah. I forget who made that.
It was either Zord or it was Apex.
It might have been Apex.
That was a long time ago. Oh yeah, it was Zord. Yeah, Maddie just corrected. Yeah, yeah. All right, so it wasn't Apex. I can't give him anything for that, but I remember Apex was useless as fuck, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna stab this bitch.
So I actually have here in my notes that another notable appointment he made was to make FBSA a federal judge. So I don't think the judicial branch stepped in and martial law during Kyla's Ford. Although FBSA did involve herself with a martial law claim later, I think.
That wasn't when she was made a justice?
No, she wasn't made a justice till I believe right before my
right.
term.
Yeah.
Because
it's been a moment. It's been like 5 years.
Because that was before, I believe that was before the Supreme Court was really set up. Like, we only really needed federal judges at that point.
Right. We had Speedy, but I don't think we had, like, a full...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I know FD was one of the first people nominated to be a justice, alongside Edward.
Right.
So, department infighting and bickering with other agencies right after the resignation of President Ford was rampant. Quickly after taking power, however, President Spencer was able to quell these to a tolerable level pretty quickly. President Spencer was the first to introduce power limitations within the executive, with his second executive order limiting the amount of departments one could head. Diplomatic events flourished under him, with many friendly visits from allies occurring. Darker diplomatic events would soon happen, however. Several events with an Australian roleplay group would lead the president to raise the DEFCON level to 3 for the first time in OSF history, and war would shortly thereafter be declared. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or memories. Australia?
Oh, Operation Koala Bear.
Oh, yeah. No, I wasn't here for this.
That was...
Who wasn't for this?
The vice president at the time, I fucking forget his name. Maddie probably knows who exactly. Matt, I know who it is. I forget his name. Oh, it's Arthur. Arthur. Yeah.
I missed this one. I was around for it, but I somehow fucking missed this one.
Arthur, so essentially Operation Koala was an illegal, like, just operation where I believe they were spying on U.S. citizens. And it came out, and Arthur, I'm pretty sure, I don't think Arthur resigned, but I'm pretty sure he, like, he didn't do anything else after that. Like, he kind of just, like, stuck to the Senate by that point, and he didn't do anything. No more, he didn't come to D.C., nothing. Like, he just he did his little shit as VP and for the Senate, and that was it.
Yeah, that's crazy that they would spy on U.S. citizens. I thought the NSA was only allowed to do that.
Yeah, no, CIA. He had the CIA doing it. It was crazy.
Near the end of his term, several dramas would come and go, and a huge amount of laws passed. And a lot of these laws were important to the development of the government. However, with that all said, it can safely be said that the nation was in a far better position than what it was at the beginning of the month. I'll quote something AB said about the departing president. President Spencer may not have been elected as our president, but he did right by us and became our president. And with that concludes the lecture. 3 presidents, and then the next ones are Haste, and then other people. Does anyone have any questions, or for Nick, for me, for War, anyone? Just
Fucking Owen wants to hear more things.
Well,
if you're not prepped, fucking Nick and I can try.
Well, let's talk about like the martial law. Like, Nick, do you know why that was declared?
I believe it was. I think there was just like a lot of unrest at the White House gates. And I think the SecDef did it.
Because I remember it wasn't the POTUS. It was someone else that did it.
It might have been.
It might
have been the SecDef. Yeah,
it was
like Maddie saying.
He was telling me about it, and she said it was the SecDef.
Yeah, it was pretty much, there was a lot of like action going on at DC, and like the fucking MPD, like just the regular agencies could not get control of it. So I believe War is right in that the SecDef took it upon himself to declare martial law to try and secure things. And yeah, that didn't last very long.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the authority to actually do that. That would have to have been the president, but clearly it wasn't the POTUS that actually did it, which is why that quickly got struck down. Because obviously USM isn't allowed to deploy. Well, it's been changed over the years, but at that point in time, USM was not allowed really to act as a policing capacity unless obviously martial law was activated. They could deploy to like certain federal buildings, but that's since been expanded upon. Which obviously now we see them at like almost every public event now.
Saying USM was deployed after POTUS declared.
Yeah, I heard it was the SecDef that did and wasn't POTUS, but I could be wrong. Yes, the Gatorade.
Interesting.
That fucking joke got so widespread that they added Gatorade to the game.
Yeah, that's great.
I love that part.
So this was also during COVID, correct?
I think this is. Yeah,
this was pre-COVID. No, this was pre-COVID.
No, because Deep Red Skies was COVID.
Because
that's when I joined. I joined during COVID.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure COVID.
The timeline's off
this
somehow.
was all.
Hold on, let's look at the wall.
A lot of this was in the first presidency, so like 2018 is when like a lot of these presidencies were, like Director Scott, Deep Red Skies, Kyle, Edward. This was all 2018.
Hold on. I'm gonna go look at the wall because something.
I have
seemed-
2019.
Yeah, I thought that was
when
2019. Because I joined like right around this time that they were fucking existing.
President Kyle S. Ford was elected on September 1st, 2018.
2019?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because 2018, the group didn't even exist. I don't think.
The group was coming back in 2018.
Yeah, but it wasn't like set up the way it is now. Hold on. All right. So we had Spectre, Skies, yeah. Because I joined under. Oh, I see why I'm confused. Okay. All right. I joined under Deep Red's second term when because he also had 3. Okay, that's why I'm confused. I do know things from before things because obviously I've been around enough to hear enough shit. But that's why I'm confused because Deep Red had 2 terms, 3 technically, but he had 2 different times where he was president.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, because the second time Ev was president, he was cheese. He wasn't. Right. Okay, that explains that. All right.
Mm. All right.
I'm
Well,
old. My defense.
it's the next presidents. The next lecture will be on Presidents Rick Z57, Deep Red Sky's second term, and President Varkson.
Varkson's was
You're
interesting.
skipping over Haste and all them?
Haste
No,
was after
Hayes was after
Varkson.
Varkson.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because Varkson made me. Yeah, because Varkson made me chair against my will, and then yeah. Right.
But,
Yep, that sounds right.
like, all the stuff I found about these 4 took me like 2 months. So we will see when the next lecture is.
Maddie's trying to speak.
Oh, yeah. Let me add you.
I got him.
When?
No.
Oh, there we go.
I'm just thinking it's probably better for me coming up because I know pretty much served under a lot of presidents.
Yeah. We talked
Yeah,
about
a lot of early shit.
Spectre, Deep Red Skies, Kyle S. Ford, and Edwards first.
So going back to the Russian attack, I can't remember as much detail, but what happened was I believe it happened around about 12 a.m. BST. It'll be 7 p.m. Eastern time. I was away and I got a message saying that the Russians were attacking us. They were planning to go for the White House. They were attacking DOD, other federal buildings as well. They weren't going for civilians. It's more law enforcement. So once they got onto the grounds, I can't remember if it was the POTUS or it was the Secretary of Defense, but I think it was the president who declared martial law, and that's when USM was deployed, because law enforcement could not handle the attack, or the attackers coming onto the city. It was just mayhem. Actually, I actually think I've got a video somewhere of that actually.
Forgive me. Yeah, it was 2019. I forgot that fucking COVID didn't start till 2020 March. So
Yours are weird, man. I mean, this is all fucking.
yeah, it's been
half
COVID
a
was a
decade
weird
ago.
time for everybody.
Oh my god, that's crazy. It was half a decade ago. Oh, Jesus. This is making me feel old. Fucking hell.
Making you
That's
feel
his
old.
goal.
This is making you feel old. How do you think
Yeah.
me and Nick feels?
See, look, in my defense, I have no defense. Touch grass. Anyways.
But yes, I'm just basically trying to look at like the past and maybe pull some cool stories from it. So yeah. That's everything then. I mean, we can just go in like VC comms if people want to talk. But thank you all for coming, and make sure to listen to SS on your way out.